Once a land of crystal towers and glowing forests, it now lay broken. Black smoke filled the sky. Fires raged in the distance. The war between humans and Therian aliens had ended just months ago, but peace was still fragile. Captain Jace Varel, a human warrior, stood beside a ruined transport ship. His armor was scorched, and his right shoulder was bleeding, but he didn't care. All around him were Therian soldiers stall, elegant beings with pale blue skin and glowing silver eyes. They were looking for survivors. Jace and his squad had come to Veltheria as peacekeepers. The war had been terrible, but both sides had agreed to stop fighting. Humans and Therians were now trying to rebuild. But not everyone wanted peace. Today, a rebel group of Therians had attacked a royal convoy. And inside that convoy was someone important, Princess Kailari, daughter of the Therian king. She had been taken by surprise, poisoned by a strange weapon, and now lay dying in a makeshift medical tent. Inside the tent, Jace heard shouting, "She's fading." A Therian medic cried, "Her blood is breaking down. The venom is destroying her cells. Is there any compatible donor?" Someone else asked. "No, she is of royal blood. No Therian here matches her type." "Then she dies," another voice whispered. Jay stepped forward. "What if I try?" The room fell silent. The Therians turned to him with confused expressions. One of them, an older healer with glowing tattoos on his arms, spoke with cold calm. "You are human. Your blood is not like ours." "I know," Jace said. "It's better than doing nothing." The medic looked to the others. No one spoke. Princess Kailari lay on a crystal bed. Her skin was pale blue, but now it looked white. Her long silver hair was spread like a halo, and her chest rose and fell. Weakly, her eyes were closed. Jack stepped closer. "She won't survive another hour," the medic said softly. "The venom is too strong." "Then we do it," Jace said. A few minutes later, it connected the bloodline. Jace watched his own red blood flow into the machine, then through a filter system and into Kailar's body. The healers added nanites to slow the reaction. Everyone waited. At first, nothing happened. Then her fingers twitched. The medic leaned forward. Her heart, it's beating stronger. Kailari's body began to glow faintly. Her color returned, not pale blue, but a strange mix of silver and soft rose. Her eyelashes fluttered. "She's stabilizing," the medic whispered. This is impossible." Jace slumped down, exhausted. He had given a lot of blood. His vision blurred, but he smiled. "Told you? It was worth trying." Hours passed. Jace awoke in the recovery wing. A nurse offered him water, but before he could ask questions, a group of Therian guards entered. "Captain Varel," the lead one said, "the king requests your presence." They brought him to the inner chamber of the royal cruiser ship, where golden walls shimmered like living light. Inside stood King Ilion, ruler of Veltheria. He was tall, with white markings across his chest and shoulders, and eyes like twin moons. Kailari stood beside him. She was dressed in a soft white robe now. Her silver hair flowed freely, and her skin still held that strange silver-pink glow. But her eyes, once a soft blue now, had gold flecks. Something never seen in a Therian. "Captain Jace Varel," the king said, "you saved my daughter's life." Jace bowed slightly. "I only gave my blood, your majesty." "It was not just blood," the king said. "It was something else." Kailari stepped forward. Her voice was calm but clear. "When I awoke, I could feel something different, like my body was alive in a new way. And I heard your voice, even when I was unconscious." Jace looked at her, surprised. "My voice?" "Yes," she said. "Your heartbeat, your thoughts." Everyone was silent. The king stepped forward. "We do not understand what has happened. But your blood did more than heal her. It changed." Her Jace didn't know what to say. Kailari looked straight at him. "And now, I can understand your language perfectly without a translator." One of the Therian guards gasped. "That is impossible," the medic said. "No Therian can do that." "But I can," Kailari whispered. "And I know what you're feeling right now." Jace stepped back. "What am I feeling?" "You're worried," she said. "You think you've broken something sacred? You fear that I will be taken from you? Or that you'll be punished?" He didn't reply. Kailari smiled softly. You're wrong. The king dismissed the others. Only Jace, Kailari, and 2 guards remained. What do you want from me? Jace asked quietly. Answers, said the king. Your blood contains something ancient, something powerful. We believe, maybe linked to our ancestors. Our history says we came from a far star, Kailari added, that we were shaped by those of fire and blood, but we never knew what that meant. Ace raised a brow. You think humans are? Your ancestors? Perhaps not all humans, the king said, but you, Captain Varel, you may carry the blood of the first ones. Jace laughed once, tired. I'm just a soldier, nothing special. Kailari took a step closer. To me you are. Their eyes met. Something invisible passed between them. A strange energy. A feeling of recognition, like they had known each other in another life. Later that night, Jace sat alone on a balcony overlooking the stars. The city was still damaged, but the fires had stopped. Lights flickered faraway ships, repaired drones, survivors. He heard footsteps behind him. Kailari stood there, wrapped in a flowing robe. Her hair loose. You shouldn't be walking, he said. I'm not weak anymore, she said softly, because of you. They sat together in silence. I don't understand what's happening, Jace admitted. Neither do I, she said. But I feel something inside me, a voice I didn't have before. Strength, and it all points to you. He looked at her. You afraid a little, she said. But I'm also curious. Soft wind passed between them. Kailari turned her face toward him. I died today, Jace, and when I woke up, I wasn't the same. You didn't just save my life, you changed it. He nodded slowly. Maybe you changed mine too. Suddenly, a sharp light flashed in the sky. A nearby tower exploded in flames. Sirens rang. Guards shouted. Jace and Kailari stood up quickly. What was that? He asked. A guard rushed in. Your Highness, rebels. Again, they've attacked the north wing. Kailari's eyes flashed. They're trying to finish what they started. Jace reached for his weapon, and let's not let them. As they ran toward the danger, neither of them noticed that their hands brushed for just a moment, long enough to create a flicker of energy. Between them, it wasn't just blood. It was something more, something neither science nor history could explain. The air was thick with smoke. Captain Jace Virel ran beside Princess Kailari through the damaged halls of the royal palace. Emergency lights blinked red as alarms screamed across the building. Rebels had struck again, this time from inside the city. Jace's boots pounded the metal floor. His pulse was racing. Stay close, he said to Kailari. Kailari didn't answer. She moved like lightning, faster than before. Her eyes glowed gold as she dodged falling debris with ease. Her long silver hair flowed behind her, and her face was calm, focused. She didn't look like a dying princess anymore. They reached the upper corridor where the attack had started. A group of palace guards were pinned behind broken pillars, firing at rebels wearing black armor with red symbols across their chests. They've got energy rifles, a guard yelled. Can't get past them. Jace pulled out his own weapon. Cover me. But before he could move, Kailari stepped forward. Her hands glowed with a soft light. She raised them toward the enemy. What are you doing? Jace shouted. Kailari's eyes shone brighter. A pulse of golden energy exploded from her palms. It rushed across the corridor like a wave, knocking the rebels backward without killing them. Their weapons shorted out and sparked. The guards looked. Stunned, Kailari swayed slightly, her energy dimming. Jace caught her. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. I think I just pushed them. With what? That wasn't a weapon. Kailari stared at her hands. No, that was me. After the attackers were arrested, the palace went into lockdown. The king ordered everyone back to the command center. Kailari sat in a medical chair while scientists scanned her body. Jace stood nearby, arms crossed, watching with concern. She's different, said one of the alien doctors. Her energy patterns have changed. Her nervous system is stronger, faster. Her blood is no longer purely Theran. Explain, the king demanded. The medic showed a diagram. The human blood didn't just mix. It triggered a reaction. Her body adapted to a tanned evolved, another scientist added, and not just physically. She now shows signs of cognitive bonding with the donor. That's you, Captain Varel. Kailari looked at Jace. That's why I can feel what you feel. That's why I knew where you were during the attack. Jace shifted uncomfortably. So now, we're connected? More than connected, the medic said. Your minds are partially synchronized. We don't know how deep it goes. King stepped forward. What you've done to my daughter, Captain, is beyond understanding. But so far, it has saved her life. That alone protects you for now. Later, Jace and Kailari sat in the palace garden. The fires were out. The night was quiet. Jace looked up at the stars. I'm not sure I like being a science experiment, Kailar smiled gently. Neither do I, he turned to her. You're amazing back there. You stopped trained rebels without killing anyone. I've never seen anything like that. She looked at her hands. Didn't know I could do it. It just happened, like a reflex. Jace leaned forward. And this bond between us? What does it mean, Kailari? Met his eyes. I don't know, but I feel your heartbeat when you're near. I even hear your thoughts sometimes. When they're strong, what am I thinking now? He asked. She blushed slightly. You're worried that you'll hurt me somehow, that this will all go wrong. Jace nodded. I've seen how fast things fall apart. I want that to happen too. You, Kailari, placed her hand on his. Then don't run from it. The next day, royal scholars called Jace to a private meeting, inside a dark library filled with glowing books. They showed him ancient records. We have studied our oldest writings, said one of the scholars, and we believe there is truth. To the myth of the first blood, another added, it speaks of beings from another world, humans who came before our time. They were warriors, explorers. They helped shape the Thurin people long ago. A third pointed to an old symbol, a circle with two hands joined inside it. This was the mark of the blood bridge, a bond between races, rare but powerful. Frowned. You're saying this has happened before? It's only once, maybe twice, the scholar said. Each time, it led to great change and great danger. They warned him, if you and the princess are truly bonded by blood, then others may fear what you represent. Jace already understood. They'll want to separate us, or destroy you both, the elder said. Meanwhile, unrest spread in the city. Some Therians feared the princess's change. Rumors spread fast. Her skin has turned pink. Speaks the human tongue without training? She is cursed. She's not our princess anymore. A group of nobles demanded she step down from her royal duties until a full investigation was complete. They called her transformation unnatural. The king tried to calm the council. She is still Kailari, still my daughter. But the fear was growing. That night, Kailari came to Jace's quarters. Her eyes were troubled. They want to isolate me. He stood up. They can't do that. I won't let them, she said. There's something else. I've been having dreams. What kind of dreams? She looked pale. Of war, of fire, of a city collapsing, and always at the center, you and I, standing back to back. Jace walked to her. I've seen it too, in flashes. I thought it was memory. It's not memory, she whispered. It's a warning. Later that week, Kailari and Jace were taken to a secret lab beneath the palace. There, they met Archivus Vanos, a Thrin elder who had studied ancient technologies. I have waited for this moment my whole life, the old alien said. Come, I want to show you something. They entered a dark chamber. In the center stood a large stone pillar covered in glowing symbols. Vanos explained, this was built by the ancients. It only responds to those with the blood of both worlds. Kailari and Jace stepped forward. The pillar lit up. A beam of energy rose from the floor and surrounded them. Symbols floated in the air maps, faces, stars. Then a voice echoed from the machine. The bond has returned. Prepare for awakening. The light faded. Vanos fell to his knees. It is true. You are the key. Back at the palace, chaos erupted. Again, A group of radical Thurin military leaders declared the princess a threat. They sent soldiers to protect the throne, but their real plan was to remove Kailari by force. Jace and Kailari were warned by a friend in the guard. "They're coming tonight. You have to leave now." The two escaped through a hidden tunnel. The palace was no longer safe. They boarded a stolen speeder and fled into the wildlands beyond the city. As they flew into the night, she looked at Kailar. "You're handling this better than I expected." She smiled slightly. "I have you with me. That helps." He looked away. "We're fugitives now." "No," she said. "We're just ahead of the truth." He turned to her. "Where are we going?" Kailari pointed to the far mountains, to the ruins of the ancients. "That's where the answers are. And maybe where our real journey begins." They flew toward the stars, leaving behind a city full of fear, towards something greater than either of them could imagine. The speeder sliced through the sky, silent and fast. Captain Jace Virel gripped the controls tightly. The alien mountains ahead rose like sharp teeth against the stars. Beside him sat Princess Kailari, her silver hair tied back, her glowing eyes fixed on the distant ruins. They were both fugitives now, running from their own allies. Hunted by fearful nobles and radical military leaders, but neither of them felt afraid. Something bigger was calling them. They landed the speeder at the edge of a wide canyon. The ruins of the ancient ones lay ahead, massive stone structures half buried in glowing crystal. The place hummed with quiet energy. Kailari stepped out and walked ahead, almost in a trance. "I've dreamed of this place." Jace followed her. "You're sure we'll find answers here?" "I don't know what we'll find," she said, "but I know it's part of us, part of what we've become." The ground under their feet felt warm. Strange symbols glowed softly beneath their boots as they walked deeper into the ruins. Suddenly, the air shifted. A large stone door slid open without anyone touching it. Jace raised his weapon. "That normal?" Kailari shook her head. "No. But we're not normal anymore." Inside the chamber, the walls were covered in carvings. They showed humans and Therians standing side by side, holding hands, fighting together, building cities. At the center of one wall was a glowing image, two figures joined by a beam of light, their hands touching a crystal heart. Kailari stepped closer. "This is it, the bond." Jace placed his hand on the wall. It lit up. Kailari did the same. The wall pulsed, and then a hidden panel opened. Inside was a small, floating orb. It hovered between them and began to speak in an ancient language, yet both understood it clearly. "You are the awakened pair. The blood has joined. The circle begins again." Jace blinked. "Okay, that's new." Kailar asked, "What is the circle?" The orb replied, "The circle of unity, formed when two species share one life force. You carry what was lost long ago." Suddenly, the room rumbled. Kailari gasped. "They followed us." Outside, dust clouds rose on the horizon. Doreen. Assault craft were approaching. The enemy had tracked their ship's trail. Jace grabbed Kailari's hand. "We have to move." They ran through the ruins. But as they turned a corner, they found themselves at a dead-end wall of ancient glass and stone. "We're trapped," Jace said. Kailari stepped forward. "No, we're not." She raised her hands. The glowing symbols on the wall responded. Light poured from her fingers, and the wall melted open like soft metal. They stepped through into a circular chamber. At the center stood a glowing pedestal. Two slots, one shaped like a human hand, the other like a Therian's. They both looked at each other. Jace nodded. "Let's find out what we're meant to be." They placed their hands on the pedestal. A blinding light filled the chamber. The floor rose beneath them. The pedestal opened, revealing a floating crystal core surrounded by rings of energy. A deep hum echoed in their bones. The orb from before returned. "You are now connected to the source. The gift has awakened." Suddenly, Kailari felt power surge through her veins, stronger than anything before. She saw visions, stars, battles, and ancient worlds. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. Jace felt it too. His muscles tightened, his senses sharpened, and his heart beat in rhythm with hers. Then the light vanished. They stood still. Jace took a shaky breath. "What just happened?" Elari whispered. "We are the bridge. We're not just bonded. We're something new." Outside, enemy soldiers surrounded the ruins. Black-clad Therine warriors moved in with weapons drawn inside. Jace and Kylari prepared. "We fight together," she said. "Always," he replied. They stepped out into the sunlight. The soldiers shouted, "Surrender the princess!" Jace raised his rifle. "You'll have to go through me first." But before anyone fired, Kylari stepped forward. Her eyes blazed gold. She lifted her hand and with a wave, she disarmed the soldiers without harming them. Her rifles flew into the air and exploded into dust. Gasps filled the battlefield. Then one of the enemy generals came forward, Commander Sereth, a tall Thrinn with armor like stone. "You are dangerous," he said. "You bring chaos." "I bring change," Kylari replied. "You will be captured. Your bond is forbidden." Jace moved in front of her. "Try it." Sereth raised his weapon. "Then you die." But before the shot was fired, the ground beneath them shook. The ruins glowed again. Massive stone pillars rose from the earth, surrounding the area in a perfect circle. Energy surged through the cracks. From the pedestal chamber, the ancient voice echoed, "They are chosen. Touch them. And you. Touch the wrath of the ancients." Sereth stepped back, fear in his eyes. Kylari raised her voice. "We are not your enemies. We are your future." The enemy soldiers hesitated. One by one, they dropped their weapons. Sereth growled in anger, but retreated. Kylari and Jace stood in silence, surrounded by the energy of a forgotten past and a changing future. Later, after the soldiers were gone, Jace and Kylari sat by a glowing stone in the heart of the ruins. "I still don't understand what's inside us," Jace said. "This power, it's not normal." Kylari looked at him. "No, it's not. But it's not evil either. It's a gift. One we never asked for, but one we must protect." Jace stared at the stars. "Think we were meant to meet?" She nodded slowly. "Everything in me says yes." He took her hand gently. "Then we protect it, whatever comes." Their hands glowed faintly where they touched, far away. In the capital, the king received news of the event. He stared at the glowing orb sent by one of the scientists. "She is awakened," the medic said. "And the human is bound to her completely." King looked tired, and the time has come to decide, protect them or prepare for war. One of his council members asked, "What do you choose, Your Majesty?" The king didn't answer, but deep in his heart, he feared the truth. The world would never be the same again. The sun rose over the broken plains of Veltharia, casting a golden light across the ruins where ancient powers had been awakened. Birds circled quietly above, as if sensing the world was holding its breath. Inside the ancient chamber, Jace Virel sat near a crystal pool, sharpening his blade out of habit. He didn't need it now. His body had changed. His senses were sharper. He could feel the wind before it blew, hear the footsteps of distant creatures. Even sense Kylari's presence behind him before she arrived. "You're awake early?" she said softly. Jace smiled without looking. "Didn't sleep much." Kylari knelt beside him. Her silver-blue skin now had warm tones near her cheeks. Her golden eyes no longer looked alien to him. They felt familiar, even comforting. "You feel it too, don't you?" she asked. The silence before the storm. Jace replied, "War is coming." Far away, in the royal citadel, the king stood, before a large hall filled with noble leaders and military commanders. The room buzzed with anger and fear. "She is not fully Therine anymore," one shouted. "She walks with a human warrior, one who now carries alien powers. This bond is dangerous. We must declare them a threat." The king raised his hand for silence. "Enough," he said. "Kylari is still my daughter. Gator. She is of royal blood, and I will not betray her. But what if she cannot control the power?" a general demanded. "She already has," the king replied. She saved our people from destruction. She spared her enemies. One noble woman stood. And what will she do next time? What if the human controls her? The king's face was hard. And let me ask you, what if it is not her we should fear, but those who cannot accept change? Hall fell quiet. Still, whispers continued in the shadows. Plans were already forming. Some were preparing for peace. Others were preparing for war. Back at the ancient ruins, Kylari and Jace packed their things. The pedestal chamber had shown them everything it could: visions of the past, glimpses of the future, and a warning. There's a weapon, Kylari said. One that hasn't been used in over 1,000 years. Jace nodded. The rebels want it. And if they get it, they'll wipe out every city that still follows your father. Kylari looked toward the horizon. Old mountains. No one alive has seen it. But someone left a map, Jace said, holding up a crystal disc. Your ancestors knew this day would come. Kylari took his hand. We stop it together. They left the ruins, heading toward the mountains, toward the buried weapon. The journey was long. They passed old forests, dry lakes, and empty villages left behind by war. Along the way, they met other stirring travelers, outcasts, and even human workers rebuilding shattered towns. Some feared them, some welcomed them, some bowed. Word had spread. The princess and the human warrior had become something more. One night, they camped near a river glowing with blue light. Kylari sat beside Jace and watched the sky. You know, she said, if this was another time, another life, maybe we wouldn't have had to fight. Jace leaned back. Maybe, but I don't think I'd want it any other way.
Kylari
looked at him, confused. Why? 'Cause then I wouldn't have met you like this, he said, strong, brave, real. She smiled. You say such strange things, Jace Varel. He smiled back. I'm only being honest. The next morning, they reached the old mountains. Deep inside the cliffs, they found ancient gates made of stone and energy. Kylari placed her hand on the gate.
Ow.
It opened slowly, revealing a dark tunnel covered in vines and forgotten machines. They entered. At the heart of the mountain was a chamber larger than any palace. In the center stood the Worldfire Kinona giant device, glowing softly, waiting for activation. This is it, Jace said. If someone uses this, everything ends. Kylari walked to the control panel. It only responds to a bonded pair. That means us. Suddenly, a cold voice echoed behind them. You finally found it. For us. They turned. Commander Sereth stood there, armed and ready. With dozens of black-armored rebels behind him, Kylari stepped forward. This weapon is forbidden. You'll destroy everything, Sereth sneered. No, I will purify Veltharia. The royals have grown weak. You've tainted the bloodline. I will start over with strength. Jace aimed his weapon. You'll have to kill us first. Sereth smiled. Gladly. The battle exploded in fire and chaos. Jace fought with skill and power beyond human limits. He moved like lightning, dodging blasts and striking with perfect timing. Kylari summoned light from her hands, creating shields and throwing waves of energy that pushed the rebels back, but there were too many. A blast hit Kylari in the side. Cried out and fell. Jace caught her before she hit the ground. Stay with me, he shouted. I'm not leaving you, she whispered. Sereth approached, weapon glowing. You failed, princess. And now, take the bond for myself. He fired, but nothing happened. A wall of golden energy blocked the shot. Kylari and Jace stood together, their hands linked, their bond glowing. Their bodies rose into the air slightly. The ground trembled. The ancient chamber lit up. The weapon behind them changed. It no longer looked like a machine of war. The voice of the ancients spoke. The bond has chosen peace. Sereth fired again. The blast bounced off harmlessly. Then energy exploded outward from the couple, knocking every rebel to the ground. Jack stepped forward. It's over. Up. Sereth tried to rise, but Kylari's voice stopped him. You are broken by fear, she said. But fear will no longer rule this world. She closed her eyes. The world-fire cannon folded in on itself and vanished. The weapon was going to sealed forever. After the battle, Kailari and Jace stood outside the mountain. Wind blew gently across the cliffs. The rebels had surrendered. They stared at the horizon. Kailari spoke first. We've ended the weapon, but the war still waits behind us. Jace nodded. Then we go home. A week later, they arrived at the royal citadel at first. The guards aimed their weapons, but the king stepped out himself. He looked at his daughter, stronger and brighter than before, standing beside the human warrior with fire in his eyes. The king dropped to one knee, and everyone followed. The capital of Veltheria had changed. What once felt cold, tense, and broken now buzzed with something new hope. The city gates had opened for the first time in months. Citizens lined the roads, whispering and watching as two figures walked. Through the heart of the city, Princess Kailari and Captain Jace Virel turned not as fugitives but as something more. Kailari wore simple robes, not royal silks. Her skin now shimmered with soft pink tones mixed into her blue. Her golden eyes glowed warmly as she looked at her people. Jace walked beside her, dressed in armor worn and scratched from battle, yet he stood tall, confident. Calm, they were no longer symbols of fear. They were symbols of change. Inside the royal hall, King Ilion stood before the High Council. Tension was heavy. Some of the nobles had already planned to vote Kailari out of the royal line. Others had feared Jace would bring violence, but the king's voice silenced them all. "My daughter has returned," he said, standing tall, "and she has done what none of us could. She has ended the threat of ancient weapons. She has spared enemies who meant her harm. She has shown mercy, strength, and wisdom." He turned toward Jace. "And this human Captain Virel has proven that honor and courage are not bound by species or tradition." A murmur ran through the hall. Kailari stepped forward. "I was once just a princess," she said, her voice clear. "But now I am more, not just because of power, not just because of blood, but because I chose to see what others feared." Looked around. We feared humans. We feared change. But the truth is, the ancients left us a gift, a chance to grow. And that gift came through him. She gently touched Jace's arm. "I do not ask for your fear. I ask for your trust. Us build something new together." The chamber fell silent. Then one voice called out, "I trust her." Another followed, "So do I." And then, across the room, they all stood and bowed. The days that followed were full of rebuilding. Kailari and Jace visited cities that had been damaged by war. They met alien children who stared at them with wide eyes, pointing and whispering. One little girl walked up to Kailari and asked, "Are you still a princess?" Kailari smiled and knelt. "Yes, but I'm also a protector now." The girl turned to Jace. "And are you a king?" Jace laughed. "No, just a soldier." But Kailari looked at him with a smile.
Oh.
"Maybe something more." As peace grew across, Veltheria, the king, hosted a public ceremony in the Grand Garden. Thousands of citizens gathered. Humans and Therians stood side by side, watching as Kailari and Jace stood on a high platform before the royal tree, a symbol of life. Planted at the founding of the first city, the king spoke first. "Long ago, our people feared what we didn't understand. But today, we witness a union that proves fear is not our master. Today, we honor the bond of courage, sacrifice, and love." Gasps spread through the crowd. Kailari stepped forward. "I stand here not just as your princess, but as someone who found strength in something unexpected. In someone unexpected." She turned to Jace. "From the day you gave your blood to save me, something awakened. Not just in me, but in us." Jace took a deep breath. "I didn't come to your world to become a legend," he said. "I just wanted to protect people, but you gave me something worth fighting for. A reason to believe in more than war." Kailari held out her hand. "Then stand with me not just today, but for every tomorrow that follows." Jace took her hand. The tree behind them glowed softly. The crowd erupted in cheers. After the ceremony, Kailari and Jace returned to the royal palace. But they didn't rest. had plans. Together, they began the first Unity Projector program to train human and Thurin peacekeepers side by side. They built new schools, new bridges, and opened the ancient archives to share the lost history of the ancients with all. Jace led the training of young warriors, human and alien alike. He taught them not only to fight, but to protect, to lead with honor. Kailari focused on healing, using her new energy to strengthen farms, build cities, and bring balance to places once broken. Their bond was not just personal, it became the heart of a movement. But peace, even strong peace, is never without challenges. Months later, a powerful Thurian lord named Vader rose in the southern provinces. He refused to recognize the Unity Council and claimed Kailari had betrayed her people. He gathered weapons and forces, threatening to start another war. Kailari and Jace visited him personally. He greeted them with scorn. "You bring human tricks to our soil." Kailari remained calm. "I bring truth." Vader laughed. "And if I reject it?" Jace stepped forward. "Then I'll remind you what truth can do." Before a fight broke out, Kailari raised her hand. She released a vision pulse, a rare gift only her bond had awakened. Vader saw her memories. Pain. Her strength. Her power. When the light faded, he collapsed to his knees. I was wrong," he whispered. "The war never happened." As time passed, Jace and Kailari became more than symbols. They became legends, stories of the human warrior. And the changed princess spread across planets. Some called them the children of the ancients. Others simply called them hope. But to each other, they were something simpler. Kailari called Jace my anchor, and Jace called her my light. One quiet evening, they stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The stars were bright. The wind was gentle. Kailari leaned on Jace's shoulder. "Do you ever think about Earth?" she asked. Gay nodded. "Sometimes, but this is my home now," she smiled. "I'm glad," he turned to her, "We've changed everything." Kailari looked at him. "No, we didn't change it. Love did." They kissed beneath the starlight. Years later, a new tradition was started. Every spring, on the day of the bond, people of Eltheria planted a tree in the name of unity. Human and Thurin children held hands, laughing under the sky. And in the center of the capital, a statue stood tall, showing a woman with glowing eyes and a man with a calm smile. Standing back to back, the words below read, "They gave blood to save a life. They gave love to save a world."